What is up, YouTube? Pink Reaper here, back with more Advanced Wars by Web. Yo, I finally did it. I got a high-tier game. We did it. We did it, boys. It's over. I got a high-tier game. I finally get to upload. Except not really, because this actually isn't a high-tier game, despite the fact that it is Grit versus Sturm, which is normally, obviously, 2 tier 0 COs. This is a high funds game, and in high funds, Grit is actually considered bottom tier, tier 3. There's no tier 4. And Sturm is considered tier 2. Only Colin, Hachi, and I think who else? Kanbei maybe. It feels like it should be Kanbei, right? Are tier 0 in high funds. So yeah, this is actually a low tier game. But it's I still like one. I wanted to show it off because high funds is an inherently sort of different meta, and two, again, it is just Sturm versus Grit, and that is a very interesting matchup. It's a very, they are very high tier characters in general, and it made this game a little more interesting. It made this game interesting, honestly. High tiers, high fund. I'm just gonna skip through these first couple turns here. High funds, like I said, is a inherently different sort of meta because, one, obviously you have access to much more expensive units much more quickly, but two, you also have access to a lot more CO power and CO superpower because that's just based off the damage you deal in terms of funds. And with higher fund units on the map, generally, things charge a lot faster. Now, this is a very small map, even in high funds. I think there's only like, I want to say there's only like 30 total. No, there's more than that. There's definitely more than that. How much? What is the? Is there a? Nope, that's just log. Nope. None of this tells me how many actual fund producing cities there are. I think there's 40 on this map, maybe. I don't know. You know what? Wait, what am I doing? I'm dumb. I can actually I can click this, and it'll tell me right here on map analysis. So there's 30 cities, 2 ports, 2 airports, and so there's only 40. I was right the first time. Yeah, there's only 40 fund-producing buildings on this map. So assuming, we have an even split, that's 40k a day for each of us, which obviously is a lot. Mind you, that's way more than you're ever gonna get. In a normal match, because this is a 2,000. I should point out, high fund just means any amount of funds above the normal 1,000 per city, or for fund producing building, I should say. And this is a 2,000, so it's just doubled. There are games like I've seen auto created ones where it's like 1,500, so it's not obviously as crazy. But I mean, I've played high funds on other maps that are very large, and we're talking like 60 to 70k a day large. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get into the actual game because something interesting actually does happen here really early. My opponent makes the choice to immediately push for both comm towers while I don't. But in doing so, he doesn't immediately pull for his second, or I should say his third factory, which will set him back a little bit in terms of building units. But I get it. Sturm is an 80-120 CO. His offenses are only 80%, but his defenses are 120. So having both comm towers is a massive advantage. But as Grit, that actually doesn't really matter to me that much, honestly. Like, I was thinking about this. I'm like, do I protect for that? I'm like, no. I didn't think I needed to really worry about that because I was pretty certain I'd be able to take one back pretty easily, specifically this one because it's so close to my own actual HQ. And the way this map is built, it's rather than being split center-wise, like in terms of like where the two fronts are, it's not horizontal, it's vertical. That is because we only have a single factory here, but 2 factories here, which means our units will sort of natively cluster in these areas. Um, like he'll have a larger force here, I'll have a larger force here, and then it'll sort of split up the middle. He builds some early tanks. I built one early tank just to sort of force that and to protect my infantry as it moves in and tries to start taking cities, and just sort of pepper him with damage. See, look at that. Even with one comm tower, only doing 4 damage to a tank on a plains is pretty sad. But he also only took 1 damage in return because he's got essentially 160 defense on that tile, so that's crazy. My opponent also makes a very good choice, and he's going to be doing this a lot this game. He builds a recon. Sturm recons are very unlike other recons because he has no movement penalty whatsoever. This is just an 8 movement unit for 4,000, which is really good. It's very anti-infantry, but it also deals solid damage to my artilleries. And obviously my artilleries will never be able to outrange an 8 movement unit, so. But I start doing the grit things. I just start piling out the artilleries. Now, one of the things about high funds is because you have access to a lot of money really fast. Look at this, I'm already at 20,000. You sort of get incentivized to build vehicles early. Like, obviously, I'm grit. I want to have a lot of artillery, so I've been building artilleries. But that means I'm also not building infantry. Luckily for me, I'm actually not super worried about getting behind in funding. I really only want to make sure that I have about 17 buildings. 16 to 17, somewhere around there. If even that. Like, honestly, even 15 is probably enough. Because I don't really need to be building expensive units. I just need to be building artilleries, right? So if I have 30k a day, I have enough to build 3 artilleries and like a helicopter and still be banking money. Sturm, on the other hand, he's also in an interesting situation here because he doesn't really need to worry too much about money because he can also just sort of build recons or tanks and sort of just sit outside my range, and there's not much he can do about it. What's interesting though is he does get very aggressive here early. He moves in and like essentially just throws away these units to kill off my my infantry, which is, to his credit, not a terrible idea because he does control both comm towers. Controlling both comm towers means if I don't have infantry, I can't swap them. So it's going to force me into building infantry at some point or another. However, I just sort of, I mean, I take my free kills. We're going to do that. So at this point, this part of the map is done. Like, I have a ton of artilleries right here. I've built my double anti-air. Oh my god. So anti-air versus Sturm is annoying. Because if normally an anti-air, even at like 8 or 9 HP, can beat a helicopter. But with my weakened anti-airs only at 80% power, and even when I get that tower at 90% power and his 120% defense, if my anti-airs take a little bit of damage, I'm just not going to be able to one-shot his helicopters, which is annoying. So I should show this out. So again, he gets very aggressive here. He's trying to damage all of my artillery, but I'm not super worried about that. So I take the shot. I take one single shot at full on a full HP recon, and then I just immediately pop my CO power. You're gonna see this a lot when I play through this game. It's a pretty long game, for the record. The added damage is really the most important part here, more than the one range, but the one range is also huge because now with obviously nothing super interesting here, but with that +1 range, this artillery can hit this tank, which is obviously important. Unfortunately, I don't actually do it, or no, I do. Cool. I thought I remembered on this turn not doing that, but that allows me to start cleaning up units here. So I just choose to join those units there. That's another thing you're going to see a lot here is me joining my units together. Part of it is because of just how Sturm's power works, but part of it is just keeping my artilleries at full HP is very important. I need that like maximum amount of damage at all times. I build my first rocket here as well. I don't actually build a lot of these, just in general with grit, but and my opponent puts me in a bad position right here. Moving this anti-air right here, it means it's essentially shut off my airport. I can't build anything there, which is obviously bad for me. So I moved to start taking this this comm tower right here. I didn't actually think I'd get it, but I decided to just join all of my infantry and put him at max HP just in case he couldn't two-shot me here with both the helicopter. Like, I knew he wouldn't be able to do it with the double recons. Like, the two recons wouldn't be able to actually kill this infantry, and I might be able to just steal it. Like, because obviously I could just give up this property and just remerge there back to 10 HP, and then deal with anything he moves in here. But you'll also know, obviously, I moved my anti-air here because I was like, most likely what he's going to do is move up the helicopter, attack, move up one of the recons and attack, and sure enough, that's what he does. But it kills. I cannot believe that recon dealt 6 damage. I was so hopeful that I'd be able to survive there. Now, most likely what happened is this dealt like 45%, this dealt 55%, but I'm still surprised that killed. I should have calced it. The thing is, though, so a lot of... Yeah, look at that. Full HP, couldn't even kill it. So... Look at this. Just... Oh, it's so good. So I make a choice here to attack with my rocket that's on my base here, or my factory here. So unfortunately, I'm not going to get to build out of this, which does set me back a little bit. But again, that turn's still not like bad for me. And because my opponent's so aggressive, it's right around here I realize, okay, he's going to be moving up a lot. I need to start making sure that every time, like, I need to start making sure I always position my units, like, such that when he attacks me, I can always retaliate and kill whatever he does. Oops, I went too far there. So, like, here, like, he moved all of that up to kill 1 infantry and deal 3 damage to a... to my artillery, but he lost 2 units in doing that. That's still a net positive for me. Like, or no, he lost 3 units, yeah. So, I move all of my units together here, which is kind of a mistake. In my mind, I thought there's no way he's going for his CO power, right? He's going to save up for his CO superpower on this turn. I also build a helicopter here. This is bait. Like, I need him to move this anti-air up so that I can just attack it with this recon, which is going to get hit, mind you. I know that. Like, it's not even a question. It's going to get hit. But I want to have access to my airport, so I'm throwing away a helicopter. I'm just throwing away 9,000. In an effort to just sort of free up this airport. And then I also build a mid-tank here. This is mostly just to sort of deal with smaller tanks and also to threaten recons more. Like, recons obviously can't do anything to this, and his small tanks aren't going to, his regular tanks aren't going to do much either. So he takes the bait. He kills the helicopter like I assumed he would. He starts getting really aggressive with his own airports here, which makes sense because, again, I can't actually really deal much here with his helicopters. And then he makes the choice to actually just throw out his weaker meteor, his CO power, Meteor Strike. Meteor Strike deals 4 damage, Meteor Strike 2 deals 8 damage to just the largest group of units that can be hit. Luckily, I actually don't take a huge hit on my artilleries. Obviously, I took, I took some amount of damage there, but I still have 4 full HP artilleries here. If it had hit like right here, it probably would have actually been better or worse for me, because then I'd only have 2 full HPs. The big issue is right now with that +1, another +1 to his defense, it's really hard to hit Sturm. Oh, and as I said, like, here's just another instance of me sort of building my units up, and not building my units up, but merging my units up. And now I take this time to, I take this chance to just sort of, to actually move in on the comm tower and actually defend on it. So the way I have my units moved here, again, is very specific. He won't be able to one-shot this infantry with anything, so this helicopter can't move into support by attacking this this artillery. Because if that happened, what would happen is he'd attack this artillery with one tank, with the helicopter, kill it, and then he'd be able to move in with the other tank and deal damage. There's still a chance that the tank plus the infantry might be able to kill it, but I just kind of took that chance. And now I take the chance to build another helicopter. So again, he's sort of forced to keep this anti-air here and attack. And now at 6 HP, it's not going to kill it because I'm on an airport. Airports are the only spaces that, if I remember correctly, that aerial units actually get defense on. Yeah, they do. So he's going to do a lot of damage, but he's not going to kill it. And then it'll heal 2 HP on the next turn, and he's going to take a shot back, so he'll actually take some damage. So, kills that artillery, but that's fine. Like I said, I've dealt enough damage that I can now start at least moving things out of this this airport. So he makes the correct decision here, I feel like, in not attacking this artillery, like not throwing away this tank to this artillery, for this artillery, but he then just does it anyway. Like, and even more so, it's insane to me that he's attacking my infantry and not the artilleries. I kind of get it because, again, I'm down to my last 3 infantry right now. I have nothing to cap cities after this, but as I said earlier, I don't really care. Like, I'm at 32,000. I can build whatever I want. And whatever I want really just is artilleries. He does make another good choice, though, here, taking out my anti-air, because I'm not going to be able to pressure his multiple helicopters that he's coming in right now as much, because I've only got one 6 HP one and then the full one that I just built. So I cap the comm tower, flipping that, and then I immediately pop my power. This was actually probably a mistake, though. I should not have used the power immediately. I already had like a guaranteed kill on this recon and on this recon. And because of that, let me just move back here. I could have built a little bit more charge without having used my power. And then that charge I get to keep, right? Like, towards my next CO power. And I realized that immediately after doing it. Like, I'm like, I could have... It's not a huge thing, obviously, but it's just one of those things where you can be a little bit more optimal, and I just wasn't. So yeah, because of that message you didn't see it, but I just immediately destroy that. Look at the range on this. That's so stupid. If I could have moved into the trees, I could have actually just killed that tank with it too. Not that the tank's super worrying to me right now, because as you can see, I can actually still hit it. So this is just another like very bad turn for my opponent. I I choose not to look at this. I chose not to attack that tank with this artillery because I can hit this tank with this artillery. Like, oh my god, Grit with CO power is so hilarious to me. I just like the amount of range he has. So yeah, I once again choose to attack with a unit that's on the factory, which means again I don't get to build out on this turn, but and it's not that big a deal. Although I think I actually should have built a bomber this turn. The 5 HP anti-air isn't going to do a ton of damage, especially now that it's only at 90 power. Versus my 140 defense bomber, because I'm in CO power. And it'll basically die on the crackback if I did that there. But I didn't do that, so I take this chance to just build another rocket instead. Get the most use out of my funds since I'm not building a third unit there. He's being really aggressive towards my infantry, which is interesting to me. But like I said, I get it because he's currently in terms of cities, he's very far ahead, and he still has a chance to get more, like even further ahead because I'm not going to be able to cap this. And he's moving infantry over here towards my cities. He's got a rather substantial anti-air force here as well, which means in order to actually be able to use my airport, I would have to very support that. Like I need a bunch of artillery over here, which I don't currently have. I have 2 artillery and 1's still on factory. The thing is, because he had gone so heavy into building infantries, like he kept building infantry and stuff like that, he doesn't actually have a strong like offensive force over here, so I'm not super worried about it at this point. He starts building Neo-tanks. I assume because he thinks that's a good choice to like deal with my walls of units over here, but he also like is just throwing out these helicopters to deal with this anti-air, which I kind of get it because again, once he gets, you know, a solid sort of anti-air force going, I'm not going to be able to, or I mean, once he gets a solid air force going, if I don't have a bunch of anti-airs, I'm not going to be able to deal with it. So I start consciously, like I said, because I know he's got, you know, this is where his force is really going to be really strong, is on this side. I start consciously deciding, like, I need to move artilleries and stuff like that over. So, obviously, I don't want to give up this space entirely. And also, I need to, like, if he wants to attack this anti-air with this Neo-tank, which I assume he's going to do. Like, I'm in range. That's the only thing that's going to be able to deal with his helicopters. So, I purposely move all of my artillery right over here to support it. So it's like, if you want to trade your Neo-tank for this anti-air, I'm very much willing to do it. I also build a second mid-tank over here because, again, it's just something that will be able to deal with all of the vehicles he has on this side, and it's going to pressure him into building other stuff over here that isn't anti-air. And then I build another infantry just because, like, I'm running out, and I kind of need to have at least 1 or 2 on the map, just so, like, if I start pushing up, I have a chance of threatening to steal stuff. He goes for a CO power here, which is a very, very solid choice. And again, he just starts, you know, he's pressuring very specific stuff. He's pressuring, you know, he's pressuring this airport. I can't really build anything super strong out of it because he keeps building anti-airs. He's pressuring me to build anti-airs on this side, stopping me from building artillery. So it's not like he's making some good decisions along with some questionable decisions, I feel like. So he only has the 1 anti-air here, obviously. So I made a, you know, again, I made a conscious choice to just throw away one of my two helicopters. So if he wants to attack this if he wants to attack this helicopter and stop me from interrupting this capture, he has to actually move off. Which means obviously I still interrupt that capture. On the other hand, if he wants to attack this helicopter, if he wants to attack this battlecopter, he has to throw away this anti-air because it's obviously just going to be in range of my crazy artillery force. So in my mind, I'm like, the most obvious thing that he's going to do is just move off here, probably attack this infantry, and then attack that one, which is fine because it means that this helicopter gets to escape, and I can move this helicopter over to start supporting against these helicopters. So I again just pop my CO power right here. That's because that'll put this, literally it's just for this. It's just so that this artillery is in range to hit that Neo tank. Also, I get a really nice shot off on that tank, which is nice, you know, just... Oh, yeah. I said... I guess it's also so I could kill this. I forgot. I'm not 100% certain why I chose not to attack this artillery. Oh, right. It's because the amount of damage I dealt. I had checked it. I kept this alive for some reason. Like, I remember purposefully choosing not to attack this Neo tank with this tank. I just don't remember. Oh, no, I did attack it. That's right. It's just... It got glitched. I'm like... It's like, because I remember ending this turn being like, I know it's not going to die, but I was like, I guess that's going to be okay, but yeah. So I also just build move my wall of artillery over here, so that I can finally build a second helicopter that's definitely not going to die. I'm going to make it out of this turn with at least 2 helicopters that are alive, which is what I wanted. And he does make the choice to give up that capture to kill that one helicopter, which I get it. Like, at this point, like, that's the most optimal play he can make there. He also starts moving this infantry up, which I find funny, because I was like, oh, he's going to start trying to cap these cities, isn't he? Nothing particularly interesting here. Like I said, I managed to finally get a helicopter out. I'm going to start moving the helicopters over to essentially just kind of fight with his. Again, I'm just offering a trade here for this helicopter, so I can start killing his anti-airs. Because if I can get his anti-airs out of this area, I can finally start building, you know, bigger threats like this bomber. I actually built the first bomber, which obviously is insane. I would have figured he would have done it before me. Look at how much money he has. 58,000. He didn't. He ended with 20k unspent last turn. That's insane. So again, he's just sort of. I honestly think like this sequence was not the greatest for him. Because now he's just going to be out both of his anti-airs that are right here, and it again, like I'm purposely building stuff to pressure him into building specific stuff. Like he has to build anti-airs to deal with my. I was also sort of just assuming he'd build a fighter at some point. That was the other thing. But he keeps just building offensive units out here, which I also kind of get because it is pressuring me quite a bit on this side. It's also forcing me into building things I don't really want to build. We're just sort of stalemated at that point, doing the same thing. Again, see here, you see I just immediately pop my superpower. Or my CO power. That's also just to get a little bit of extra damage out of this, this anti-air. I make the conscious decision not to destroy this anti-air because I was like, well, he's going to attack into this bomber and it's going to deal like 1 damage and die. So I'd prefer that happen. I think this was the first real blowout turn for him, by the way. Like, I just want to throw this out. Like, he's already... So, he's only down 2 units at this point, right? Like, he's only behind 2 units. Granted, he has a 1 HP and a 3 HP... a 1 HP and a 3 HP copter and a 3 HP artillery... Or, I mean, an anti-air, so that's probably going to die. But, like, I have my 3 HP artillery, my 2 HP artillery. I have a 3 HP infantry, a 5 HP infantry, although that's going to get healed. Or, I mean... I can still stand to heal that, but like in terms of funds, I have a bit of an advantage, obviously, because I just built a very expensive unit. But this turn it ends up being a huge blowout on him. I pop my CO power, and then he just starts losing units left and right, like. And I think this is where the game very much started to get out of hand for him. Even though he is building towards his CO superpower, which is going to be very devastating when he uses it. He's now down 11 units, and he's down 80k in funds. Now, obviously, he can't spend 80k this turn. Or not down 80k in funds, he's 80k in like terms of unit production. He can't spend 80k, he doesn't have 80k, but he can obviously build a huge force on this turn. But this is the real big mistake that he made. He used just Meteored 1. Like, this is dead. What is with this glitch? There we go. He actually dealt 2 damage there. Good for him. If he had just saved a little bit longer and gone for Meteor 2, he could have dealt a huge blow, but he didn't. That does obviously get, like, this is the other thing. Like, he's still just purposely dying into my anti-airs. He could have been attacking my artilleries there and dealing at least a little bit of damage to them. Granted, like, he would have had to attack this one because this one would have just healed it off immediately anyway. And he's still just sort of throwing away units. Like, he did not recover on that turn at all. Like, he's still down 9 units. And now because I have my first helicopter in over here, I can finally sort of support without having to, like, I can fight his helicopter without having to use my anti-airs. And again, I'm just sort of positioning units in a way that if he wants to become offensive, he has to throw away units to do it. I'm also playing very conservatively. You'll note that I just moved my rocket back to just start healing. I've been doing that a lot this game. I haven't really been talking about it. I've been purposefully sort of trying to keep everything around. Like, keep low HP units, even like 1 or 2 HP units on cities to try and get him back into the fight. Because again, I'm playing as Grit, so Grit is okay with a slower game, like a slow grindy kind of game, because I can just keep building artilleries and keep walling out, and then keep healing my units that have taken damage. And again, we see him being very aggressive against my infantries over here. Granted, I was attempting to get this city, so I get it. I get why he did that. This is the insane thing to me. But again, it's sort of like he's very going hard in protecting this comm tower. He attacks a full HP infantry and doesn't kill it, rather than killing this 8 HP bomber, which I am 99.9% certain would actually have killed. It would not have, actually. I'm incorrect. Still, though, a 1 HP bomber, like, but I get it, because I think if he hadn't done that, I actually think he would have lost this comm tower, because what would have ended up happening there is I would have killed both of these units, immediately started capping. I would have had this infantry here, and then I could have moved, or no, I would have had to move an artillery, I think. Would have been this artillery here, this infantry here. He doesn't have anything to stop me from capping it. And then flipping that would have been insanely bad for him. So I kind of do get it. But On the flip side, he like he should have thought that he can just build a recon here, and that recon would have been able to move in and attack and interrupt the capture, is what I'm saying. But he builds more anti-airs, which, again, makes sense. I'm building bombers, and now he starts building bombers as well. This is another thing where it's like, I'm sort of in a bad position. So we've already seen that a 90 power anti-air can't even kill an 8 HP bomber, right? But his have plus 20% defense, so my anti-airs aren't going to be... Like, my anti-airs are going to do, like, 5 to 6 damage to his bombers, which is awful. I am, however, again, still at a very big advantage in terms of units. I'm at a very big advantage in terms of firepower on board, in terms of control of the board and stuff like that. He's not in... Like... He is keeping me from moving up, but he's not keeping me from, like, winning, which is kind of a weird way to say this. Basically what I mean is, like, every unit he builds, he just throws into my wall to stop it from advancing. Which inevitably isn't going to work, because at most he can kill one unit, and sometimes he doesn't even kill one unit when he does that. And because of that, like, he's just not generating any advantage at all, and he's not sort of fixing his massive disadvantage that he's at. Like, this right here, like, I knew I wasn't going to get that capture. Like, there was no chance. But I baited, like, it was a bait, essentially, just to be like, here, stop this capture and lose your units, or I'm going to just take it, right? Like, that's what was going to happen. I also am using now these aerial units just as a wall to stop him from being able to move in his Neo-Tanks. Because his Neo-Tanks can't actually attack anything as long as I have these aerial units in. Like, yeah, I can attack the helicopter, but it's not going to do a lot of damage. And with that, he just loses both those anti-airs, and that's it. Like, those two anti-airs traded for 2 3 HP infantry. Like, that's obviously hugely advantageous to me. And again, we see another instant use of my CO power there. Just as a way to, you know, ensure certain kills. I go ahead and just throw away these, one of these bombers. Again, this is just sort of another, like, I'm purposely moving my units up so that you can kill them. Just so I can kill your units, right? Like, I'm trying to win at this point, right? He's down hard. Like, the game's over, let's be real. I've definitely already won. So I'm throwing away this helicopter because he can't actually attack both these bombers with these anti-airs. And I know he's going to attack the 8 HP bomber because it's the only one he can reasonably deal damage to. But then he finally lays out one of his, you know, his CO superpower, which is huge for him. It deals a massive amount of damage here. The thing is, because he's already moved all of his units, he doesn't really get anything out of it other than, like, he's slowed my assault. Now, obviously, I have the option here. I can actually just move back. Like, I can move this bomber back and save it and keep it alive. I choose not to do that, though. I choose to just kill off the Neo-Tank. Again, we see here, I'm just moving my rocket back to heal. and then I joined some units to put them back at full HP. Now, one thing I didn't realize at this point, which is bad for me, is that I was getting very low on ammo on it. Like a couple of my artilleries, not like very low, but like this one's at 5, right? So I build a fighter here. I build a fighter here to finally just sort of deal with what's going on over here, because his bombers are a huge issue over here. I can't kill them easily, and they're definitely like screwing up my they're screwing with my army over here. This is probably the first big push he really got. We're finally back at like an even number of units. Because of his CO superpower, he got to just get rid of a ton of my units. Unfortunately for him, again, I'm just going to activate my CO superpower, or my CO power, and I'm just going to take a ton of units off of the map from him. I'm not actually trying to take this comm tower. I'm just trying to force him to waste units stopping me. And again, from one turn, last turn he ended with us being exactly equal in units, and now he's down 10. What's interesting is because his infantry are so weak, and mine aren't, by the way. My infantry are 110 power because Grit has regular infantry. He couldn't actually just use his infantry to kill that. He had to use the anti-air there, which keeps this bomber alive still. I've also decided to just go all in on dealing with the bombers he's building over here, because again, his bombers are very, very annoying over here. I can't kill them easily. I can't do anything with my army over here while he's got these bombers, so I have to shut it down. So I build a grit missile, which is not common. It's not a thing you see a lot. Just missiles in general, they're not super good. And again, I'm just doing the sort of like stop it if you can capture thing over here. Where I'm incentivizing him to kill my low HP units so that he can deal with this infantry and then throw away his full HP units for them. Like, I'm just forcing trades that are seriously in my favor, is basically what I'm saying. But again, I'm getting low on HP or low on ammo here and not realizing it. This was a bad play on his part. He's got this bomber is in range of this bomber is in range of this, and that bomber is in range of this. Like, he just threw away all 3 bombers, and this is the turn I was like, okay, it's over. I've won. There's just not really anything he can do. He's pretty much guaranteed to lose at this point, right? Because he's lost his whole force over here, and now at this point I can just start moving everything over to support over here. So, I kill one. I use the power. I actually end up just killing that one now because it's in range. And then... because this doesn't fully kill, but now, obviously, the anti-air will kill it. I do make a bit of a mistake here, though. It didn't occur to me that this recon would be able to move all the way over here to, like, when I made all my moves here to kill that, so... because, like, I shouldn't have killed this 1 HP anti-air. I should have left that alive. Could I have... Hold on. Let me see how I did this. So... I hit with that. Yeah, so, okay, here's what I did wrong. I should have used this artillery to kill this recon. Used this artillery to kill this recon, and then... Or, I mean, used this artillery to kill this infantry. And then I should have just moved this one up, and then I could have basically guaranteed this capture. I did not do that, however. And now because he has his CO superpower, I can't protect this infantry anymore. Like, I could have... The infantry would have lived, is what I'm saying, through this turn. And I could have guaranteed that capture, but I didn't. So again, another meteor there deals a... I mean, it deals a big blow to me. What did I go from in terms of... let's... So I'm at... Wow. I lost 50,000 total income worth of HP there. That's a lot. Like, that's insane. But at this point, like I said earlier, I've already won. At this point, all he's really managed to do is sort of delay me, slow me down a little bit. Yeah, I don't currently have a way to stop, like, to guarantee this capture. I try my best here. But I at this point, I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen. But because of how all of his units are built, or, you know, placed and all that stuff, basically what's going to happen here is he's just going to again have to throw away some units in order to stop this capture. So I'm slowly moving down these missiles to try and get them in range of that airport, just to shut it down. And there it is. He stops the cap. But again, he had to throw out a bunch of units. Look at this. I'm down to one shot here, and that's actually kind of bad for me. So again, at this point, he's just throwing out units up here to try and sort of slow me down at all, but it doesn't matter. I've shut down this entire side of the board, so now really all he has going for him is this. The 1 HP tank is obviously not threatening to me at all, so I don't really care that it's still alive. This, however, is a problem. This artillery has no ammo anymore, so it can't do anything. And he actually takes advantage of that somewhat intelligently. Putting this rocket here. It's really only in range of these two things, which won't kill it. But it's also in range of this helicopter, and I mean, like, you think I'm not going to sack that helicopter to kill your rocket? Alright. You're wrong. Another snipe attack. Yeah, and at this point, it's over, right? Like, there's... So, I just take the chance to merge that no ammo unit into this one. Wow, I didn't actually think I'd be able to kill it. Yeah, I just at this point, like, I've shut down this side of the map, and there's nothing he can do. He's only got 8 units to my 27. Like, this is over. He takes his chance to attack whatever he can. Throws out a meteor strike and then just immediately forfeits. That game went a lot longer than I expected it to. Like I said, right around, where was it? Like turn 20 or so. Let's just close that down for a second. Was it turn 20? Nope, it was even earlier than that. Yeah, right here. So, right here, he starts taking some big losses. Like, he starts losing a lot of ground. I end the turn, obviously, you know, not hugely ahead of him, 7 units ahead. But he doesn't really... He doesn't fill that gap very well on his turn. He doesn't take out, like... He only kills 2 of my units. Builds his 4. So, you know, he's now only 2 behind. But, again, he just... Like, he goes from being 2 down to ending the turn 11 down. 9 down to being 14 down. 9 down to being 15 down. 9 down to, again, being 15 down. Like, that turn 16, he just sort of didn't... This turn he played super poorly, essentially. What he should have done is sort of just pulled everything back. He wasn't going to get any good kills. And he was going to throw away a bunch of units, and that's just not worth it. Like, there is like benefit to retreating, because you're not in a huge, you're not in a huge disadvantage, like right now. Like, you've still got good units on the board, you've still got your infantry, you've still got a ton of money. Like, I'm not threatening to capture this comm tower, I'm not threatening to flip any cities or anything like that. Just like move the infantry in. Don't move these, like, don't move this recon up. Move this anti-air back, because obviously it's not going to, like, all it's going to do is trade for this helicopter, and that's what I want. Like, you don't need to, like, again, you could also just be moving these helicopters, like, more in, and protect them with his Neo tanks. Instead, he just sort of goes for random little pepper damage that in the long run didn't help him that much. The stats on this game look really insane, by the way. I have 80 kills and 61 deaths, right? But he only has 39 kills and 81 deaths. The reason for that is because I just merged a bunch of units, like I joined a bunch. But yeah, look at, like, the turn 16 again. I'm just gonna say it. Turn 16, he should have pulled back. Like, just pull back, move stuff back. I'm not threatening any captures or anything like that. Start building up your army more. Like, you could build a Neo tank, 2 recons, and that's actually, well, with 38 actually, no. Neo tank is 24, 32. Oh, not enough, but I was gonna, well, I mean, with how much he has banked, like, build multiple Neo tanks while building a helicopter that moves in to support rather than just jumping up here to die. Like, he could start building out his army. And, like, an army of Neo tanks is a lot harder for me to deal with because it takes so many shots to hit. Or so many shots to kill. And, like, he was so focused on protecting this comm tower, and he was so focused on not letting me advance and stuff like that, that all it really did was hurt him. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it was pretty obvious to me at that point that I'd already, I was already about to win. Like, I ended turn 17 so far ahead, I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got this at this point, right? And the problem is, like, I don't know how to word this well. The problem is, I saw that and I'm like, yes, I have won at this point, right? Like, I knew that. And the only reason I thought that is because he kept advancing. Like, if he had started changing how he was playing, if he had started playing more defensively and stuff like that, I don't think I had a guaranteed win at that point. The problem is he just didn't see that he needed to change how he was playing. Like, if he had just seen that, if he had just realized that he needed to pull back and needed to play defensively and needed to allow me to gain a little bit of ground, not necessarily a lot, because I'm not going to. I think he had a real chance to actually, like, at least stabilize. Again, it's not a guaranteed win on his part, but it's not gonna. It sort of would have taken away my guaranteed win. So yeah. What's interesting to me about this game is it really was just sort of regular Sturm versus Grit. Like, the high funds didn't impact it that much. He got to build a couple Neo tanks, but that didn't really matter in the long run. The big one was obviously just that he got to build a lot of bombers. If this hadn't been high funds, it would have just been, you know, what it was for most of these early turns anyway. You know, he would have built recons, and he would have built a helicopter, and he probably would have been out of money. It did obviously benefit me to some degree because it allowed me to have enough money to build, you know, the anti-airs to deal with him, despite not owning a ton of properties. But like, my game plan didn't change in high funds. Obviously, I'm just gonna build a bunch of artilleries, and I'm gonna fight like that. And his game plan won't change either. He needs to build the high movement stuff, high movement, low cost stuff to sort of deal with it. I do think because we were high funds, he would have benefited more from building a lot of extra tanks instead. Tanks have 7 movement, which is obviously still enough to deal with any of my ranged units. So, and they deal slightly more damage to my artilleries. Let's calc it. How much does this deal? Oops, I gotta actually select it. So, you know, 36 to 44 versus 56 to 64. So that's 2 more damage. Obviously the ultra high mobility on his recons is still very good, but yeah, I feel like if he had just been building tanks and maybe like tank here, anti-air here, and then like whatever here, bombers or air or battlecopters and stuff like that, that probably still would have been better. Obviously he did build tanks, but he built recons a lot more. Yeah, I don't know. I had fun with this game. Like, it's always fun to get to play Grit. It's always fun to get to play, you know, high tier COs. I don't play a lot of high funds, generally because I feel like every time I've seen a high funds game, no COs are banned. So it's just like, hey, everyone, let's play Hachi or Kanbei. Like, the only COs you would ever play in high funds. So, like, but this one uniquely had a bunch of COs banned. So I took the chance, you know, get to play Grid again. Love it. I wasn't sure who I was going to be up against. Being up against Sturm was cool because, again, high tier matchup. But yeah, I don't know. My free-for-all game has ended as well finally, so I'll probably try and record that at some point. Maybe not though, because now that I got to watch the replay, it was depressing. Like, this person who won, literally, like, both my opponents just chose not to ever engage with them. Like, I'm on this I'm on this side of this map, right? I'm on the pink side. They're right here, and they're right here, and they're like trying to move in a little bit and fight me. And this guy over here is building Neo tanks and helicopters and just amassing an army, and no one is doing it. And he even he even messaged them. They're like, "Hey, you want me to not attack you so you can go fight pink?" Oh yeah, sure, that's perfect. Okay, whatever. You just let this guy win. Like, it's like, in my mind, because teal was the first one to go out up here. In my mind, I was like, oh, like, this player, like, this one must have overextended fighting me and ended up taking a loss up here and just ended up losing because of it, right? No. What happened was they both just let him do what he wanted, and then finally, when it was time to move, he just started over here and just wiped them out because that's what happened. I'm upset. I'm actually upset. Like, I'm sad that the free-for-all ended because my two opponents both decided to just let someone win. Like, that's not how I wanted to go. I mean, it was still fun. I still got to, you know, play an actual real free-for-all to the end, but whatever. This video's gone on way too long. Like, way too long. If you made it here all the way to the end, again, thank you for watching the whole thing. Holy cow, I can't believe you gave up an hour of your life for this. Advance Wars Reboot Camp has, of today, just been announced that it's being pushed back, so, unfortunately, I was looking forward to getting to make content for that next month, but that's not going to happen. Not that was going to stop Advance Wars by web content, it's just I would have liked to be able to do that as well. But yeah, just be on the lookout for more of this, and thanks for watching as always. And if you liked what you saw, you know, check out my Discord. You can always challenge me to a game. So this guy, where is it? This guy just challenged me, Daniel Moreno, whooped my ass. Got absolutely destroyed, honestly. Going back and watching the replay, I didn't realize I wasn't actually, like, as far behind as I thought I was. But I'm so bad at keeping track of who's got what HP for Sonya. And, like, I was playing this at work. I was like, you know what? You got it. I'm not going to be able to deal with this. You've got me. GG. If I had played it out, I might have actually been able to, like, not necessarily steal a win, but again, kind of stabilize a little bit better. But he was very ahead of me, so yeah. Like I said, you can join my Discord. You can challenge me. Join the Advanced Wars by web Discord. You'll find me in there as well. And thanks for watching. This has been Pink Reaper signing out.